Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Glenn MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he does show up, then great, and we'll catch him up on what he missed. If we don't, then that's okay. We'll see him Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. So we are just about ready to go, and here we go, guys. We start out with SmackDown Live as always, and this time SmackDown Live was from the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas, the home of the San Antonio Spurs, and now the new number one overall pick, Victor Wembanyama. That's his new home. But we all remember that is the house that the Twin Towers built, Tim Duncan and David Robinson. And then, of course, you have the triplets. That was Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. So, with that said, we started off with a promo segment by Paul Heyman, interrupted by LA Knight. And I got to say it was a good promo. It was a good, setup for everything that was going on. Obviously, everybody was talking about LA Knight. He's going to now get to face off with Roman Reigns. That's going to be at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And in Heyman, being the hype man, I normally, if I ever am hype man, it's Paul Heyman I take the notes from. Heyman just does it in his own style, his own way, does it in such an amazing thing. So he basically laid out the groundwork. LA Knight came out, basically did good. I'm not gonna lie. It was a solid segment, not overly spectacular because I think a lot of people felt like it could have been a lot more better in certain areas, but it did what it needed it to do. It served its purpose. It served the job. To me, great way to start the show. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours. Paul Heyman and LA Knight jumped off this portion of SmackDown from San Antonio.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, it was a simple promo segment, but one that further solidified LA Knight as the top babyface on SmackDown. But more importantly, someone growing into that role with every passing week. He held his own here, captivating the fans. He controlled their reactions, generated the reaction he was looking for, and helped sell a main event against the head of the table that was already hotly anticipated. A great way to start the show and further evidence that LA Knight was made for this spot. Heyman promised, if you're a fan of LA Knight like I am, you must watch Crown Jewel on November 4 because it's the last time you're ever going to see LA Knight in the middle of the ring. The pop for LA Knight, the way he stomps to the ring, and the command he has over any segment he is in at this point are the elements of a top superstar in WWE. He is the babyface on SmackDown right now. And LA Knight vowed, I'll pull a Michael Myers on you. I'll keep coming back. I can't stop, won't stop. Suggesting Roman stop issuing warning shots. But great segment here. No question about that. So with that being said, MF set me up for the first match of the night.
All right. And it was Montez Ford of the Street Profits going up against Legado del Fantasma and LWO member Santos Escobar. It was Montez Ford winning the match in 8 minutes and 33 seconds, but Montez Ford pulling one of Anthony Florio's favorite lines, pulling the tights and getting the win. Anthony Florio was so proud of Montez Ford as I yell out miscarriage of justice on this. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
And on top of that, I pulled the old Jesse the Body, on that one.
Yes.
But I know how much you love that. But the biggest story was about who was not at ringside for this match. You notice that the United States Heavyweight Champion Rey Mysterio was conspicuous in his absence, not around to support Santos Escobar, as Rey prepared for his face-to-face with Logan Paul, which we'll get into in a little bit. It was something that Michael Cole pointed out without lingering on, begging the question, how long until Santos Escobar takes exception to Rey Mysterio not backing him up? And then during a backstage vignette, Rey Mysterio thanked Carlito for having the LWO's back, and to say the look on Santos Escobar's face was one of dismay and disbelief would be an understatement. Do not be surprised to see the second-generation star betray the Hall of Famer, perhaps as soon as Mysterio's inevitable defense of the U.S. title against Logan Paul. Michael Cole made a point to acknowledge that Rey Mysterio was not by Escobar's side, suggesting the bigger story at play here is still the eventual breakup between mentor and protege. Angelo Dawkins sent Santos Escobar into the ring post, instigating a brawl that provided a distraction, allowing Montez Ford to score the tainted roll-up win. Carlito drew a nice reaction from the fans and cleared the heels out of the ring. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. That's the best rating I can give this. So not much more to say here, but MF, I gotta call it out. I gotta be the man who tells it like it is. When it comes to this whole Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, it's a lot like what we're seeing on NXT with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I smell a rat.
Yeah, I know. And that's definitely not I don't want to say it's a good thing, but I mean, yeah, I definitely will also hint on that as well. Look, Ray's got a lot going on for himself, but I think I would also be a little annoyed. If I'm Santos, I'd be a little annoyed about it too. I mean, that's not something that you can say, but we'll see how that plays out. This was about a 2.5 to 3-star bout, solid match. So we'll move right on along. Next up that we did have was a promo segment by, lo and behold, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, John Cena. Cut it a promo. Obviously, that brought out Solo Sikoa. That led to basically they started a brawl a little bit here, but Cena got the upper hand because Jey Uso showed up and basically helped Cena even up the odds. He took out his own brother, and that led to Cena getting the AA on Solo. And wow, okay. So, a lot to talk about here. For one, really good segment. John Cena, amazing. Greatest of all time. But you also notice he was hinting about maybe retirement. Now, as many of you guys know, I don't think it's full retirement for Cena. I think Cena will always come back. But for Cena, the writer's strike is over. The actor strike, even though it's still going on, I hope eventually the actor strike end. That means he's already got a project possibly up in line. He's already said that he's got some movies lined up that he wants to do. He can't talk about it because obviously with the strikes going on, you can't really talk about any projects or anything like that. That goes against the charter, and you don't want to upset the apple cart. But with John Cena, he's always been WWE through and through. We've loved to have him. Anytime we've seen Cena, it's been a breath of fresh air. Obviously, he's been one of the most vocal leaders in this, I guess you could say, this little power struggle between them and AEW. And as you know, he did win that last battle. So at the end of the day, it's really good what you see from John Cena. Now, Solo Sikoa gets a big moment now because it looks like he might be fighting John Cena at Crown Jewel. But also, you also saw a moment, Jimmy getting his comeuppance thanks to Jay, a little bit of some payback that led to what happened and the Judgment Day winning back the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. So you had that going on. So at the end of the day, you start to think is, okay, maybe brother versus brother, and you're going to see Solo versus Cena. I mean, those are two good things. But what happened next, I know drew the ire of Anthony Florio. and definitely had me smiling from ear to ear because let's just say a turf war may have just started, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Anthony, it's yours. Cena being Cena, but there's still some interesting movable parts as it pertains to the bloodline.
MF, it seems rather curious that John Cena would look for his first singles win in 2002 days against the guy in Solo Sikoa who very rarely loses. But you don't get to be the GOAT by backing down. At least a match of that magnitude should bolster the crown jewel card. Cena said, it's been exactly 2002 days since I last won a televised singles match. My last win was in 2018. Holy hell. Cena, believing he still got it, issued a challenge to the next idiot who came through the curtain. Enter Solo Sikoa. Jey Uso attacked Jimmy, leaving him lying because damn that brand extension. Michael Bullock's not here, so I can get away with some things here because Bullock and I had a Smackdown chat last night, and we talked about the possibility of this, and we mentioned that if it does come down to Raw versus SmackDown again, that he's going to have to be that babysitter, if you will, because there could be a war of words on the verge again. But MF, let me just say it like this: does SmackDown really want to go there? Does SmackDown really want to do brand extension against Raw again? You know what's going to happen if you do? You're going to be knocking on Trouble's door, big boy. Knocking on Trouble's door. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, almost every time Raw and SmackDown got together for, these brand extension things, didn't Raw come out on top every time with the exception of the 1 year of NXT dominance?
Yeah, if you want to go on those terms, yeah, but there's been a few years where SmackDown's beaten Raw.
True.
I mean, if you want to talk about true SmackDown versus Raw, yes, Raw has won each and every one of the wars, yes,
with the exception of one, which was 2005, because that was the best of three. SmackDown won 2-1. That legendary Survivor match. You came over to my house at the time to see it, and I still remember to this day you bouncing around my house like Tigger when Randy Orton got that winning fall. So, but anyways, I mean, we all remember it. When it came to the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches, Raw basically won almost every time. SmackDown always had the edge when it came to champion versus champion matches.
Yes.
That's where SmackDown, had their fun. Raw had our fun with the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches, which of course, me. You know how much I love those.
But is it possible? Could Raw and SmackDown be facing each other in War Games this year?
Ooh.
Now, you want to talk about an added element.
Anything can happen there. No unfair advantage. I mean, traditional Survivor match, no chance. Raw's got you. Champion match, okay, that's where SmackDown comes in. But War Games,
that's a different animal. Ooh. That is a different animal.
Do we know? I mean, I've got that legendary DVD, even though, I don't really necessarily need it anymore because, Peacock's got damn near all of them. So you can damn near watch them anytime you want. But, oh my goodness, a Raw versus SmackDown War Games style match. Now that would be fun. But anyways, another great segment, John Cena, we always talk about it. I mean, he does have some detractors, yes, but you can't, I don't know how to put it correctly, but I will say it like this. I mean, what Cena's done for the business and still doing, I mean, The whole strike thing is annoying, but this is one of the few good things that came out of it. We got to enjoy some Cena goodness, and Cena and Solo. I had heard possibilities of Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, them doing that match, but hey, Saudi Arabia, I mean, that would work. So, we'll have to wait and find out. But man, MF, I mean, explosive segment, and you said it. It led into a backstage segment with both of our general managers. Your general manager, the National Treasure, Nick Aldis, and of course the general manager of my show, Raw, Mr. Adam Pearce, former Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. You know him very well. So, what happened here?
Well, what happened was, basically what led to this was that you had the National Treasure basically laying down the law, said that, I did not like what you coming out and everything else, and slapped a $10,000 fine on Jey Uso. Now, obviously, Adam Pearce was gonna defend him, and that's a little bit, that's a little harsh. What about for vice versa, that I should have done the same thing to your guy because he did interfere on Monday night. And he's like, all right, well, the thing is, this is my show. And Jay, you're part of Monday Night Raw. You're not supposed to be here. You got to go. Get out. Then Adam Pearce was like, you're really going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to do it. And not only does he got to go, you got to go. No Raw allowed. Get the F out of the building. Security, escort these two men out. Pearce looks at him like, you should not have gone there. You should not have started this.
Like Bullock always says, I'll be honest, I never ever remembered Gorilla Monsoon saying this, but apparently Bullock said he did. Don't start something you can't finish.
Yeah. So apparently, but the thing is that, look, if this is one of those things where, hey, if you feel that's his territory, you're the general manager of SmackDown, that's your call, man. This is his show. He runs it. So he wanted it to do it, by all means. Now, I know that's going to rub a few people the wrong way, but hey, I'm going to say, as a SmackDown guy, look, did I have a problem with what Jey Uso did? No, because it was even retribution. Jimmy did it on Monday night. Jay returned the favor and decided, you know what, I'm going to hit him back with this. I got no problem with that. Eye for an eye. I'm cool with that. But if Adam Pearce felt like this is the right thing to do, I mean, if this is what Nick Aldis felt like this was the right thing to do, I'm not gonna challenge the GM. I mean, it's his show. He can run it any way he sees fit. Now, was people not happy with the way he did it? Obviously. But at the end of the day, hey, it is what it is, man. You sometimes, look, are we going to be cordial on everything? Most likely not. But on this one, I can see why all these would, I can understand why Pierce got a little angry and felt like that was a little bit of a harsh move. But Nick Aldis wants to run a tight ship. You can't fault him for that. But, like we said, this also might have just started. This might have just triggered a turf war. But guess what? If WWE wants to really accentuate and want us to make us believe about this war, then we got to do this. This had to happen. So we're at Survivor Series season, folks. That's the other thing too. So, all right. Nothing more to say. Next up, promo segment by Logan Paul, interrupted by Rey Mysterio. And they made it official. Rey Mysterio to go one-on-one with Logan Paul for the United States Heavyweight Championship at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. Anthony, it is yours.
Logan Paul returned to WWE and made his desire to hold the United States Heavyweight Championship apparent, laying down the gauntlet to Rey Mysterio after accurately reminding the Hall of Famer that he beat him 2 years earlier at WrestleMania 38 in that tag team match when it was he and The Miz that went up against Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Rey's motivations to accept the challenge was simple: humble Logan Paul. In many ways, simple was the theme of the segment, for the better. WWE could have gotten cutesy with its booking, but instead Triple H and company let the established history between the two provide the foundation for bringing them together. Then added the humbling explanation to create an easy, simple background for the showdown. Mysterio has something Logan Paul wants. Logan Paul already beat him once. It is a simple story that writes itself, hardly a bad thing in an industry that sometimes gets too overly complicated. And Logan Paul made some great points. He said, the last time I beat Rey Mysterio, Dominic was still his son. The last time I beat Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns actually showed up to wrestle. The last time I beat Rey Mysterio, LA Knight didn't have a job. All true. All true. Recalling the WrestleMania 38 tag match, Logan Paul's first in WWE is a great way to necessitate the match without getting too fancy regarding its booking. Another solid segment here, and we've already gone on the record, and I'm going to go on the record. I got this weird feeling, MF, that Logan Paul is going to walk out of Saudi Arabia the new United States Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, and he even also mentioned that he's a WWE superstar too. So he also made it very clear that he's in this for the long haul. So like him or hate him, and I know there's a lot of people that would like to see him get his teeth kicked in, but that's going to be a discussion for another day, and who knows, we might see that happen at Saudi Arabia, so we'll see. So next up we had was Cameron Grimes and Dragon Lee going up against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory winning the match in 6 minutes and 3 seconds. It was all right. It was an okay match. Really nothing too much to say about it. Nothing more to say there. I'd say about maybe two and a half stars. Anthony, quick thought.
What was that time of the fall again?
6:03.
That's 2.5. The match was one of the longer ones on a talk-heavy episode and continued to establish the heels as workhorses on Friday nights. Their in-ring chemistry is undeniable, and their partnership has been one of the more fun developments on SmackDown. Cameron Grimes and Dragon Lee meshed well as well, despite never tagging before. There is an argument to be made that the babyfaces needed to win more, but Theory and Waller have been beaten up a bit in recent weeks, and giving them a win here against the team still finding its footing after re-emerging under Triple H's creative direction is a harmless booking decision. That is, as long as Cameron Grimes and Dragon Lee do not fade into the background from here. Michael Cole took care of Dragon Lee on commentary, informing fans that Rey Mysterio once referred to him as the face of Lucha Libre's future. That is the sort of little thing that helps establish him in the eyes of fans watching at home who may not be familiar with him. 2.5 stars. So I do believe it's main event time, and what a main event we got here. Ho ho.
For the WWE Women's Championship, the champion, the genius in the sky, Io Sky, going up against the Queen Charlotte Flair, winner of the bout. 13 minutes, 26 seconds, and still the WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
3.5 stars. This was the fight of the night here. Wow, a lot to digest here. This match was not without controversy. Bayley once again made her presence felt in this title bout, this time narrowly saving Io Sky from defeat by placing her foot on the bottom rope. Charlotte gained a measure of revenge by obliterating her at ringside, but the heel champion utilized the championship to lay out the queen and secure the tainted win. The shocking return of Bianca Belair moments later led to the babyfaces standing tall to close out the show. The women's title suddenly packed with the reemergence of the EST. It would seem to suggest that Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Io Sky are headed toward a triple threat match for the title. But to be honest, we have seen too many three-way dances of late in relation to the Blue Brand title. And the last thing we need is to see another at Crown Jewel. Let Bianca have the title shot against Io. Have Charlotte around the squared circle to neutralize Bayley and go from there. Or, and this is a wild idea, book a tag team match. Or actually, no, book a match between Charlotte Flair and Bayley and one between Bianca Belair and Io Sky, just to prove that not all women's matches have to have a title at the center of them. Whatever the case, Bianca's return was red hot and put a nice exclamation point on the show. Bayley maintaining her disdain from Michael Cole is the best long-term booking in the company. Bloodline be damned. Give us Bayley versus Michael Cole in Philly. It's the WrestleMania 40 main event we all deserve.
Oh, jeez.
Charlotte has to be a little more discreet with her calling of spots. It's been way too obvious in recent weeks, including a very audible down the stretch Friday night or last night. With that said, Charlotte made up for it with a visible what the after Io kicked out of an avalanche follow-away slam. It is so much more believable and effective than the tired jaw-drop facial expression most favor. Charlotte got her feet up to counter a moonsault, then delivered a spear, but Bayley put Io's foot on the bottom rope. It was a hell of a sequence that was executed well, given the speed at which it unfolded. The pop, the run-in, and the intensity shown by Bianca Belair proves she is that woman, a top star who has earned everything she has gotten in WWE and then some. 3.5 stars, fight of the night for me. So, MF, business has just picked up in your women's division. The EST is back.
Yes, she is. And I hate to say this, but not everybody's happy that she is back either. There's a few detractors there. And some of them were kind of not so happy that the EST is back. They did not want them anywhere close to the women's title picture. Unfortunately, it looks like she is back in it. So, good or bad, regardless of what it may be, here we go. So, I liked it. I thought it was a good main event. Like you said, 3.5 stars would be my rating as well. I don't think there's really nothing more to say. So, as far as overall review goes, I'd say about 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really good show. Yes, promo heavy. Not many matches. Actually, only 3 matches the whole night. But they made it worth its while. You know, the first fight of the night that we had was the Santos Escobar versus Montez Ford. That established some really good storyline. I think the only throwaway of the whole thing was that Cameron Grimes, Dragon Lee, Theory, and Grayson Waller, even though there was nothing bad about it, there was nothing wrong with the match. It was still a solid fight. And then the main event was just the main event. I mean, there's nothing bad about it. So, all in all, good show. Anthony Florio, 8 out of 10 for me. What says you? As I get ourselves ready for Collision.
7.5 to 8 out of 10. Even a show that looked like a placeholder of sorts on paper ended up being rather newsworthy, especially with the return of Bianca Belair and the announcement of Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for what is quickly becoming an impressive crown jewel card. We also had the groundwork for John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, another standout showing for LA Knight. And the latest in the mounting frustration Santos Escobar is experiencing at the hands of Rey Mysterio. The show is delivering some solid stories and appears to have direction again, especially with 2 big events coming up in short order. Crown Jewel on November 4, and then 3 weeks after that, the Survivor Series. Each segment has urgency to it, and the result is a better, faster-paced show. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. MF, AEW Collision, live from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. And one quick comment, if I may, and that is, how great is it to have Tony Schiavone back as the voice of a wrestling show on TNT again? Memories conjured up, man. It's so great to have him back.
And the thing is that not everybody thought, like, when we heard that Tony Schiavone was gonna get the rub, I think we all were thinking, wait, Schiavone? No, really? They're gonna give it to him? Yeah, remember, they started with Kevin Kelly. Then there was a time where it was Ian Riccaboni from Ring of Honor that he was getting the plug, and now all of a sudden here we are, and they gave the plug and the moment to one of our very own, to the legend himself. So we had that going on. Let me see if I can find it. Uh-oh. I might have to go to another site because I don't see the all right. All right, give me a minute, folks, because normally I go through prowrestling.net for my recap for the shows, and apparently they don't have the AEW Collision up. All right. That's weird. That's kind of out of right field. That normally that hardly ever happens. Okay. So let me just get it here. Sorry.
No. There's another site that we usually
I found it.
Okay.
I found it. Yep, there we go. All right. AEW Collision. Here we go. All right. So, the first fight of the night, well, let's just throw it right out. They gave us the dream fight. Bryan Danielson versus Andrade El Idolo. And when it was all said and done, winner of the bout in 18 minutes and 49 seconds was Bryan Danielson. 4 stars right out of the gate. I mean, what a way to start the show. What a great fight we had. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
I'll tell you what, man. Tonight's Collision opened with Bryan Danielson making his way to the ring to take on Andrade El Idolo. These two had a couple of singles matches back in 2018, but have never had a singles bout in AEW before, so this was a first. These are two men who have just about perfected the technical aspect of professional wrestling, so they could have outshined most of the roster in their sleep if they wanted to. They paced themselves, but kept upping the ante as time went on. Andrade had a bit of a size advantage, but the American Dragon's proficiency with submissions and strikes kept him from feeling like an underdog in most situations. They felt evenly matched, and at times Andrade even seemed frustrated that Danielson was outsmarting him. This was a fantastic showcase of their skills that left a lot of room to grow in future matches. After trading several different pinning combinations, Danielson finally kept Andrade down for the 3 count to score a clean win. The American Dragon extended his hand as a sign of respect, and El Idolo shook it. The lights went out, and when they came back on, Malachi Black was there to lay out Bryan Danielson with the black mass. The way Bryan Danielson turned Andrade El Idolo's own Tranquillo trick against him was great. El Idolo's springboard dropkick looked really good. The way Andrade hit the split leg moonsault made it look a lot more impactful than how RVD and Johnny TV hit it. And the announcers pointed out some bruises on both men, including one on El Idolo's arm that looked pretty painful. But 4.25 stars for me, teetering on 4.5. Fantastic match. You can certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors if you wanted to. So, no surprise. Perfect jump off to this. So there isn't much more to say except MF. I mean, we know AEW Collision is always a fun watch on Saturday nights, but the only time it's not fun is when we get delicious squashes. And unfortunately, we had to endure back-to-back squashes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's a little much for me. I'm sorry. It's a little too much to ask.
Yeah, all right. Well, first off we had was the beautiful Sky Blue. She went up against Hollywood Haley. Sky Blue winning the match in less than 2 minutes. 1 minute and 56 seconds officially. Then the third fight, it was the Guns. They went up against the Outrunners, and they won that match in 1 minute and 19 seconds. Both duds. Neither need to be said. So let's just move on along. Then we had a Memphis street fight, as it was Eddie Kingston going one-on-one with Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett wins the match in 13 minutes and 5 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
There's a caveat to this one. Since Jeff Jarrett won this match, Jay Lethal now gets a future opportunity at the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship held by Eddie Kingston. Now, I got a quick question for you. Are you familiar with this Memphis wrestling announcer, Dave Brown, MF?
I'm not familiar with him, but I think he was like old school NWA. So and sometimes they do some wrestling stuff from Memphis. So I know it's like kind of an independent type of a promotion. That would probably be the best thing I can say about it more than anything else.
Well, I asked because legendary Memphis wrestling announcer Dave Brown joined the commentary team to call the Memphis street fight between Eddie Kingston and Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, like I said, I think Jerry Lawler would know more about that, because like I said, I think that's like classic NWA, but we're talking like 1970, 1980s type level.
Speaking of Jerry the King Lawler, did you see that? Did you see that great thing on social media today? He and JR got together today.
Yes, very much so. Brought back a lot of great memories for all of us. Yes,
you better believe it. So, because we'll get into that in a little bit, but nonetheless, this all right. I got sidetracked for a moment. Okay. The Mad King didn't even bother bringing his titles with him because he knew the fight was going to start before he got to the ring, and he was right. I mean, it was basically a 5-on-1, 6-on-1 type handicap match. I mean, I should have mentioned this during the women's title match with Charlotte and Io. Charlotte Flair was basically in a 3-on-1 handicap match last night on SmackDown. Eddie Kingston was in a 5-on-1 handicap match situation. I mean, you not only had to deal with Jeff Jarrett, you also had to deal with Michael Bullock's boy, Sanjay Dutt. You also had to deal with Jay Lethal. You also had to deal with the Mrs., Karen Jarrett.
Satnam Singh.
And, of course, the big man, Satnam Singh. So, I mean, Charlotte, like I said, was in a 3-on-1 handicap match situation last night against Io, because she also had to deal with Bayley and Dakota out there. Eddie Kingston was in a damn near 5-on-1 handicap match last night. Ugh. And of course, they all got involved because there are no disqualifications in street fights, as we all know.
Nope.
So I mentioned that because Eddie had to fight not just Double J, but Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt. Really 4-on-1, but it's 5-on-1 if you count Karen Jarrett. After they spent a long time fighting near the stage in aisle, they finally made it back to the ring. Eddie was able to get the upper hand for a bit, but the number game caught up with him. Jeff Jarrett was able to get the dirtiest win of his career. This match had some charm to it if you like that kind of chaos, but there was so much going on that it was hard to classify this as a wrestling match. Jarrett's win means Jay Lethal gets a future shot at the Ring of Honor Championship. The backdrop Eddie hit on the ramp looked really painful. Being covered in any condiment has to be an unpleasant experience when trying to wrestle. 3.25 stars. That's the best I can give this. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, thanks to Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal gets an opportunity to once again become the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, and you know that a lot better than I do.
So yeah, no doubt about it. And as a matter of fact, to let you guys know, if you're wondering about the title fight, that match will now be held, and it's actually going to be going down at it's actually going to be a championship. That championship fight it's gonna be at Final Battle, a Ring of Honor Final Battle. So that's where the match is going to be held, and that match will be in December. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add here. So it's about a 2.5-star match because of the overbook more than anything else. So there's really nothing more to say. Next up, we had was Action Andretti going 1-on-1 with the Redeemer Miro. And when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout, 9 minutes and 9 seconds, Miro by submission, 3 stars. Solid match, very good win. It was a great battle, great victory for him, and I really got nothing more to say here. So, great victory for the Redeemer Miro, and yeah, we'll wait and see how this plays out. So, Anthony, it's yours.
What was that time again?
9:09.
9:09. All right, solid 3 here. There was a caveat to this one as well. There was a wild card, a hot and flexible wild card. CJ Perry. Hey now. Okay. She was at ringside to watch the match between her husband Miro and the man who approached her last week, Action Andretti. The young high flyer knew he was outmatched in size and power, so he tried to rely on his speed and agility to keep Miro off balance. MF, it's that classic Jesse Gorilla commentary when I mentioned that.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Or as Jesse would always say, and I would always say, to echo Jesse Ventura's sentiments, Action Andretti, the quicker of the two, Miro, most certainly the more stronger of the two.
Yep.
So, it worked for a few moments, but the Bulgarian powerhouse eventually got his hands on him and grounded him with one stiff strike. CJ Perry tried to hide her smile as she watched her husband destroy her prospective client. This could have been a completely one-sided affair and nobody would have batted an eye. But Action Andretti got in a surprising amount of offense to make this a much more competitive bout. The story might have benefited more from Miro getting an easy win, but having a good back-and-forth contest is never a bad thing. If anything, this made Action Andretti look good even in defeat. Miro got the submission win with his version of the camel clutch. You know, originally it was known as the Accolade. Now it's known as Game Over. CJ Perry applauded her husband's win, but he did little to acknowledge her. Miro looked down on Andretti almost with a look of respect for his efforts before making his way to the back. This was a solid performance from both competitors, but the story they are trying to tell is a little confusing because nobody seems to know how to react to it. Andretti's flip to counter a hip toss was nice. It was nice to see Miro getting to enjoy the crowd supporting him. He rarely plays to the crowd, but getting to work as a character without a clear heel or babyface alignment gives him the ability to do just that. Miro is really underrated when it comes to selling for smaller guys. He always makes his opponents look like they have a chance to win even when they don't. Solid 3 stars, but there's a lot more to this CJ Perry situation than meets the eye, as we found out a little bit later in the show. But all right, MF, like I said, it's bad enough we had to put up with 2 delicious squashes. Now we got to deal with a third, even if it is FTR, who we have great admiration and respect for. Come on.
Well, as a matter of fact, just to let you guys know, and I know where Anthony Floyd was alluding to about that whole situation. What happened was FTR was going up against Dad Brown and Darrington Bankston, but the fight never got off the ground because Malachi Black showed up and the House of Black were there and the fight got thrown out. So obviously no score, no rating, no nothing, because the match never happened. It's a no contest. So obviously throw out. Now we go into the main event, which was the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line, as it was Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Winners of the bout, 21 minutes, 27 seconds, and still the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Anthony, it is yours.
What was that time one more time?
21-27.
Okay. 4.25. Overall, it was a 4.5 star, but I'm bumping it down to between 4 and 4.25 here. I'll tell you what. Unlike Big Bill and Ricky Stark's title victory over FTR, this was a competitive match between two teams with more similarities than meet the eye. Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli have a similar dynamic to Ricky Starks and Big Bill due to the difference in their size and their individual styles of wrestling. These similarities allowed for some interesting matchups. Starks and Yuta were evenly matched, but whenever one was facing off against a powerhouse from the other team, they became the underdog. When Bill and Castagnoli were in the ring together, the 7-foot champion's size seemed to be neutralized by the Swiss Superman's ridiculous strength. And for the third time in one night, the House of Black ruined the match by getting involved. Black distracted the ref while Buddy Matthews and Brody King attacked the BCC, allowing the champions to pin them and retain the AEW tag titles. Establishing House of Black as a force to be reckoned with is great, but having them involved in half of the matches on the show might have been a bit much. FTR and Bryan Danielson joined the fight, but were unable to get the upper hand until Jon Moxley came through the crowd to help his BCC brothers and FTR. Ricky Starks has really started showing more ego as his heel turn has progressed. The little things he does during his entrance are totally different from how he did them as a babyface. Only Claudio Castagnoli can make simple moves like a corner clothesline and an uppercut seem exciting. And Castagnoli walking across the top rope to mark Ricky Starks was a fun spot. 4 to 4.25 stars. Overall, it was 4.5, but I'm bumping it down to 4 to 4.25 because of the finish there. But MF, I know I sound like a broken record when I say it. Another week, another damn fun Collision main event.
Yeah, and that was the saving grace. The first fight of the night, the main event, that was the only thing that saved the show from actually being a dumpster fire, to be real honest with you. So it's about a 4-star main event. That's how I'll give it. I thought they did a really good job with it. So nothing more to add there. As far as overall review, I'd say 7 out of 10, and it's a solid 7 out of 10. Could have been better in certain areas. I'm not going to go much more than that. Anthony, give me your final thought.
Well, Collision was also with the Battle of the Belts show as well. But this week's tonight's Collision having the Battle of the Belts special as an extra hour made it feel like a slightly bigger show than usual, but something about it kept it from feeling as important as it should have. Promotion for Battle of the Belts leading up to tonight was minimal, so a lot of fans might have been surprised to find out it was even happening when they tuned into Collision. Other than the 3 squash matches and the bout with FTR that never happened, we got a handful of fun matches to keep us entertained, but one stood out above the rest. The match between Bryan Danielson and Andrade El Idolo outshined everything else on the show. It was the most technically proficient and the most exciting contest of the night. When it comes to Battle of the Belts, OC versus Orange Cassidy versus John Silver, and Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale were also worth taking the time to watch. It appears as if House of Black has multiple targets in mind with the BCC and FTR being in its crosshairs this week. But with Julia Hart also clearly having an impact on Sky Blue, House of Black might be about to become one of the most important groups in AEW. I'll give it about 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10 for Collision tonight. So there isn't much more to say except MF take it home.
Yeah, all right. 7 out of 10 is my rating, like I said. And guys, we're done. We're out of here. So Monday night, Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. He's got SmackDown Live, and unlike his Tony's take, he will have a recap.
You mean Raw? You said SmackDown Live.
SmackDown. I'm thinking Cerebral Smack Talk. My bad. I'm kind of a little happy right now because I just saw, I guess you can call it an upset in college football. The Miami Hurricanes just knocked off Clemson in double overtime. So I'm a little giddy right now. So I'm very happy.
Giddy. You're a lot giddy. You're a lot giddy because of what Michigan, what Michigan did to Michigan State, kicking down the door and making themselves at home.
Yeah. And the Paul Bunyan axe is once again back in Michigan's hands for yet another year. So, yeah, yeah, it's been a good day for us. So no, it is Monday Night Raw, not SmackDown. SmackDown's my show. Raw is Anthony's show. So it is Monday Night Raw. We also will be recapping the Bound for Glory, the biggest show for Impact Wrestling, and that, if that's any indication, I think we had a hell of a show here tonight. So Anthony Floyd will talk about that. If he wants to talk about Battle with the Belts, I'll give him the okay to do that. That's totally his call. Your call.
No, all right. It's all about Bound for Glory Monday night.
All right. So Bound for Glory, and we're gonna have Raw recap on that. Then Wednesday night Madness. We're gonna be talking about NXT, which is, oh, by the way, week number 1, Halloween Havoc. Ooh. Then, of course, we'll also have Dynamite as usual, and we'll be previewing the Thursday night football game for the NFL coming up. We got a good one on that one, folks. Then Thursday night, College Football Thursday. Anthony Floyd will be hosting that, as we're going to get into week number 8?
9.
I can't believe it's already 9 weeks, all right? Crazy. So 9 weeks in to the college football year, and we got some good matches for you guys. We'll talk about it. And then on Friday, NFL. We got NFL Friday, and then 1 week from tonight, we do this all over again, another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, for Anthony Flayo, I'm good on left, Michael Fletcher, saying thank you. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms around the world. And until then, so long, everybody, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
Goodbye.